This is your weekly COMEX Gold Futures video analysis for the week of Monday, March 23rd, 2026, still reflecting the April 26 futures contract. I don't see us rolling to June this week, but it looks to be happening in the next couple of weeks just based on open interest. But I don't think this week. This is still an April contract. But this is a monthly chart. So let's start there. Nearly 20 years shown here. And this is a monthly bar chart. So that high was put out in January. The low of that high is 4319.7. And when you, on a monthly chart, when you close below the low of a significant high that this high has been, that is oftentimes the end of the move. And with this sort of stratospheric rally, hyperbolic rally, can actually play to the downside, the church steeple rally in similar fashion on the back end of this. So if we were to close the month of March below 4319.7, and we've got another week or two left in the month, and there's time for that, then I would actually be suggesting a good long-term high, a good high for the year, and probably for the decade itself because of the substantial nature of this rally. Now, on an intra-month basis, we could fall to 4151.7 and bounce, and as long as we don't close the month of March below 4319.7, we remain in a stable market that has the capacity to regain upward momentum. Let's take a look at the weekly chart a little closer. This is the monthly. I'm going to take a look at the weekly now. Remember that 4319.7 will be represented by a horizontal line, and I'm going to show that here. Big sell-off last week. You can see, you've got interest rates are hanging steady, and so there is sort of a flight to liquidity, if you will, interest-bearing instruments. Obviously, if you're invested in gold, there is no interest. So there's an opportunity cost here, and that seems to be what's partly what's playing out. In any event, big sell-off last week, and if you're just kind of trading a 2 to 3 week swing trade, I don't know if we'll get up and over 4700.4. We might. I will say that holding below the low of the high on the weekly chart, 4700.4, will keep 4319.7 in reach this week, and that is the beginning of a range down to 4153.4, a descending channel bottom. And what I like about 4153.4, I'll remind you, is this 4151.7 long-term rising speed line off that 2015 low. So as I said, this could actually be the slippage factor. In other words, we could fall through 4319.7 this week perhaps and test 4153.4. This may actually contain selling pressures for the month of March. And then as long as we once again close the month of March above 4319.7, we're in a stable framework. If we do close this week below 4153.4, I think the writing is on the wall. I think we are then likely to see longer-term bearish continuation back to this long-term. Well, this is like a 20-year channel top at 2748.9 would be expected. Once again, this is a monthly chart. So this could take, this is what? This is about a year. So this could take a full year. By this time next year or sooner, we could find ourselves in the 2800, 2900 handle is what I would anticipate if we were to close this week below 4151.7, which would also be, of course, below 4153.4. Until then, this is solid bottom-picking territory. Upside, if we close above 4700.4, even on a daily basis, we could see a run into this zone, the low of the high from a few weeks ago in this extreme channel bottom at 4983.6. Ultimately, what is the sign for aggressive upward continuation as we move into April, May? At this stage, and I don't want to commit to it, but it would be something along the lines of this channel top. Now, if we come off of this immediately and rally up, then I will commit to this channel top. But if we break into this zone here, it will be a different channel top. But for right now, I'll make a note that if we do come off of this Monday and we trade higher, and let's say we close above 5,005, at the end of this week, which I don't expect, but if so, within a couple of weeks, we should see this 5470.5. And that will be, and it's going to be a number that will likely change because we'll probably break to a new low here this week. But if not, this will be our upward continuation point. This will be our breakout to the upside. I'll put it right here. It looks a little better on this particular chart. All right. this will be our buy signal into later year. This will be the resumption of aggressive upward continuation. But until then, we are set to test this significant support area this week. That's all I've got for this week's COMEX Gold Futures video analysis.